I've got a problem with my wood. I've got nowhere to put it all. I'm running out of room in this tiny 12 by 8 workshop and it's spilling out everywhere. So I need a solution. Let me show you what the current solution is. I have 2 shelves. I've also got various nooks and crannies there, there, and now it's spilling out onto my workbench. Now I need to think outside of the box or outside of the workshop. Let me show you what I'm going to do. Just one more thing. I'm Cole and I do a woodworking video every week, journaling my way through becoming full-time and starting this business up pretty much from scratch. So if that's your sort of thing, come along for the ride. Anyway, let's go and have a look where I'm going to put this wood storage. This is where it's going to go. This is the workshop. That's a cabin. And this thin strip in between has been a mess recently, but I'm slowly doing it up. So I put some decking outside the workshop yesterday, but the wood store is going to go here. And that's the plan. I've got a lot of these leftover polycarbonate sheets. They're only 4mm, but that will take care of the cover. Now, I know there's a risk of creating too much heat, especially if I'm drying wood out, it's going to crack like mad. But it's not that sunny out there. It gets a bit of mid-evening sun, as it were. So I think I'm okay. And if it is a problem, I can cover it at a later date. It's Wednesday today. Videos come out on a Thursday. So I've got to get this done in a day. And then I've got to spend however long tonight after dinner editing and putting this out for Thursday. Wish me luck and let's crack on. So all these sheets are of a slightly different size, so just to get them all consistent, I set the table saw up and rip them all to a consistent 60 centimetres. And when I've established the width, I readjust and get the length of them all to 50 centimetres. And they're all matching. So I'll put them outside and get the 2x3 treated timber, or I think this was 45 by 75, and I measure up 5 of the pieces and I cut at 160. So I end up with a 160 and a 140. I then clamp them and get them square to the table so I can work out what angle to cut them at for the sloping roof. Then I'll set my bevel and use that to guide the saw cuts. And look at that, they're the same. I then set a block up at the one end and get them all trimmed to the same length and put them outside. Feet about a foot apart, bend at the knees, and there we go, excellent posture. I then need to cut the top bits that will join the front and the back support, but I want the polycarbonate sheet sandwiched in between 2 pieces, as you'll see shortly. So to do that, I rip down the middle, and then using the same beveled angle as before, I can put that on the front and the back of these top pieces, so it looks like this and is all neat and in line. And I'll get those screwed in from the top, and I'll do that 5 times for the 5 different supports. One of the supports needs a little bit of glue as it was cracking open. This was from a timber merchant and it's C24 treated, and a couple of the pieces I was shocked that they were of the quality they were. The decking I got from them was brilliant, but about 2 or 3 of these I thought C24 from a timber merchant would be a lot better than I'm used to getting from the DIY store, but there we go. Anyway, I'm clearing the floor and I've got this piece of wood in the fence that I can attach the first one to, and then the way I plan to do this is just to get the polycarbonate sheets fixed so I know where the next stanchion is going. But this one needs nibbling out at the back just to get around that rear support. So with a little red Sharpie I mark it out, and with the old double tap it's gone. And with that clamped up and in place, I screw it in before getting the next support. But before that, hold your horses, it's time to put on this top sort of capping piece that I flush up, and that's why I ripped all these down the middle so I could sandwich the sheets between the two. That was an 80mm, it was too long, so I went and got some 75mm and they didn't protrude, and I got that on. So on to the next one. So with the polycarbonate sheet as my guide, I knew where to position these so that it would be, the sheet on top would be halfway across the top support. So a bit of levelling, a bit of digging out, clamping the sheet on, making sure it's in the middle, and obsessing over level. I just want to mention these new safety glasses. When I ordered them I thought they were the regular DeWalt ones that I always get, but when they arrived they were tinted, and I didn't really like them. So I fix these to a support that then goes to a support on the fence, and I'll get the second sheet screwed down. If you're enjoying this, every Thursday 5 PM British time there's new videos, so think about subscribing and see what it's all about. So I'll clear away for the third support, get it clamped up to the polycarbonate sheet, and then I have a look and think, this is a bit of a faff, and then I have an idea. Right. Brilliant coffee, isn't it marvellous? So, change of plan. I was doing it one at a time, trying to level it, faffing around. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to construct it all in a row, and then I'm just going to level it up when I've finished, so I can level them all up at the same time, which seems a little bit easier. But as always, these things don't come to me on the first attempt. And when you're trying to scrimp and work with what you've got, these sort of things happen. In hindsight, well, not in hindsight so much, because I'd probably still do this because it's cheaper, but ideally I'd have just bought some sheet material and felt and just constructed it, put the sheet material on and the felt, and then I would have just shuffled it into place and shifted all them bricks. Those bricks are the bane of my life. They've been here since we moved in, and they've been shunted around so often, and I've got no intention of building a barbecue or doing anything else that you do with bricks. So if you want some bricks, let me know. Right then, back to it. I'll show you what I mean. So yeah, I was going one at a time and trying to level as I went, but I realised just put them all together in a row. See what I mean? Yeah, right then, what's the time? 5 to 1, so 3 hours, we'll see. Yeah. So it went a little bit quicker now. I've sort of got into a rhythm, as you often do with these jobs. The first one's always a bit of a learning experience, and then you sort of find a way. So it's basically clear it, put in the stanchions, supports, put the polycarbonate sheet on, put the capping piece on top of it, and line up the next support. Making sure it was level. Then I wanted a fascia sort of thing for the front, but this was too chunky for that, so, and I was low on wood because I only ordered 10. I should have probably ordered 12. So I basically find the middle of this big long 3 metre 3x2 and rip it down the middle, and then I've got 2 that I can use as the fascia, because 1 wouldn't have covered the front. And I'll get that attached. And then the second one attached. And that neatens up the top bit somewhat. Now it's time to get some supports in. Off camera I'd found a long length of wood that I clamped to the front supports and made sure it was level totally the way along the front, and then I used that as a guide. So I'm cutting all the shelves to about something like 42 centimetres. So there's that piece of wood at the front clamped on. So I lined up the front. Clamped the first one. I don't think I bothered clamping after this. I had confidence in my iron-like grip. And then it was just a case of lining it up to the front, screwing the one in, getting the spirit level, and carrying on for all 5. And this is where the wood that I'm storing will be lying in lengths along these. Then off camera I went and ripped a load of 10mm little slats just to neaten up this end, because this is the end you'll see as you're approaching. The other end I can't do this because I do need to feed the wood in and out, and all I do is use another slat to equally space them apart. It's just to make it look a bit nicer really. I still need the airflow going through, so I'll just carry on and get all these on in no time at all. And at the top I just take off a couple of the pieces to the bandsaw to get that diagonal cut. And then it was onto the second shelves. Now where that orange clamp is, I've got a little stick of wood that's my guide. So I'll rest the front on that and use the spirit level to adjust the back. And this is the second row of shelving going in. I'd like to put 3 in, but I ran out of wood, so one day I will get 3 in. And I'm also going to trim out the front bit at the bottom because it looks a bit unsightly with all them bricks. I had a bit of old sleeper, a thin rip off a sleeper from last week, so I just thought it looked a bit like whiny edge, so I just put it to cover the sandwiched plastic, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it's basic, but it's just got to be somewhere that wood can stay and out the rain with lots of airflow. That's why it's pretty open, and it looks better than what used to be here. So there we go. and I'll put some still photos up. There's the roof for the rain runoff, and the blue tarp, I should say, is so the rain doesn't constantly hit the fence. So there you go, from both ends. And thanks for watching.